She's so fine. Hell of her blows my mind. Hell of her lights my day.
What's good, guys? I wanted to do an update regarding the Mikayla Miller case, but I thought it best to let Monica Cannon Grant do it by way of her Facebook page. So I'm going to share this live that she did. Also, she did a YouTube live, Facebook live, an entire platform live today, which I did participate in. And I'm also going to share that as well. Because she did talk about some of the questions people had. She tried to answer those. So I'm going to go ahead and cut to her video now, and we'll see what she has to say.
Make sure you guys like and share these videos as I am going to... Hey, Aldonia, I'm so glad you out of Facebook jail. Afternoon, guys. Hey, Tina. Gonna make sure that I try to keep up with the updates. It's been really busy. Have they completed the autopsy? We're awaiting the report. We should have it by Friday. Hopefully, fingers crossed. We're awaiting the report for the autopsy that Violence of Boston paid for. So that's part of the updates that I'll be giving you guys. It has been complete and we are awaiting the report. But, excuse me, one of the main reasons why it's been few and far between with me posting and going live is because we've been trying to make sure that the family has adequate legal representation. And they now have adequate legal representation. And so there will be a bunch of huge announcements coming in the next days from the legal representation. So a lot of the work being done behind the scenes was gathering information. A lot of the neighbors and a lot of the people from Hopkinton, believe it or not, have been reaching out to talk. Hey, Rosa, good afternoon. I'm here and I love everything that you're involved in for this baby. Thanks, I appreciate it because I've been catching hell. But yeah, so part of the reason why I haven't went live and done a bunch of talking, I had a question about the next rally. Some people had questions whether the Black Panthers are going to be in attendance, had any affiliation. Yes, the Black Panthers will be at the next rally on the 21st. And shout out to the regional director of the Black Panther movement from Atlanta and Massachusetts, who actually put together that flyer, and they will be in attendance on the 21st, and I'm really looking forward to that. Part of the reason why it hasn't been a bunch of talking is because of legalities. Gotta be careful because they're trying every tactic in the book to try to attack this family. So just being mindful of what we say and how we say it, and making sure that we say allegedly after and before everything is super important. But as I was saying, now that she has adequate legal representation, so much is going to come out. So much information. I mean, the people of Hopkinton have been coming forward with information. I've even had, individuals in the media field be like, none of this makes sense. We went in the woods, we looked at the trees, there's no way that this girl hung herself. Legal experts have said, there's just no way. Not standing on your feet with a belt tied around your neck, it just can't happen. But also, guys, for as much as I know everybody wants updates on the case, I want to highlight something. If you guys who understand and support this family could send so much love this mom's way, you don't realize how toxic something is until you see somebody else go through it. I've been attacked by white supremacists and Turtle Boys and all of these organizations since 2017. So for me, it has become my norm. It is my norm to go through a lot of the stuff. But for this mom who is in the middle of grieving while having her character assassinated, while being attacked publicly, it is not her norm. And it is really hard to, hold both things at the same time. And so if you guys could just send so much love her way. She's purposefully staying out of the public eye and purposefully taking time to just grieve. And any parent should be allowed that space. And what these white folks have done, including Caitlin's family, has been to attack her character, attack Mikayla's character, and slander her, and just send all the prayers and all the love and all the thoughts. If you do know who she is, send messages just letting her know that she has so many more people that love and support her than she does against her, because it's a heavy load to bear. And just being a mom and being on calls with her and listening to her cry will rip you apart. Just given everything that's happening all at the same time. And the only thing that she wants from any of this is justice. The only thing that she wants to see happen is those who are responsible for what happened to her daughter be held accountable. So if I can reiterate any message, that would be the message. I'm grateful to her and her family for allowing me to be on a team of people helping her through this process, but it's been tough. I think it's going to get a little bit, it's not going to be as tough as we go forward now that she has some protections in place and some representation and people to be able to utilize her voice. I do want to shout out all the organizations who have reached out to me in regards to Mikayla. Yesterday, Talib Kweli posted about Mikayla. Ebony Magazine posted about Mikayla. It's been viral, to say the least. I had an amazing conversation with one of the founders from Black Lives Matter, who they're going to send support on the ground for Mikayla's family and do a petition. And the amount of support that this family is receiving, I can't be anything but grateful. In between all of the controversy, in between all of the negative stuff that gets said, when one of us is harmed, our ability to come together and make stuff happen is a true testament of why this is now getting national attention. And for those things, I'm grateful. I'm grateful I was able to use my platform to amplify it in a way that made people want to pay attention to it. And I'm extremely grateful for that Jim Browdy interview, because it highlighted the discrepancies and the things that this district attorney has said thus far, with a clear understanding that she has gone above and beyond to cause this mom more pain and harm, and slander her, all because she is in her feelings that we had the audacity to say that she's incompetent, which she is, and very arrogant, and just it's been interesting, to say the least. And so I just want to say those things out loud. If I'm out of breath, it's because I just ate chicken and hot sauce and I'm pregnant. But I did check in with Mikayla's mom today just to encourage her and let her know that she is entitled to go through her grieving process however she sees fit, and nobody can dictate that to her. But definitely wanted to check in with you guys and let you know what's happening. So a couple of things will be happening. We're awaiting the autopsy report, which we should have, cross fingers, by the end of the week. She has now secured legal representation so that she does not have to be her own investigator and her own CSI and be gathering information, because this police department refuses to do so. And I am extremely grateful to everybody who has jumped in to support, who has helped make phone calls, and who has amplified that justice for Mikayla needs to happen. It doesn't take Ray Charles, to figure out that this wasn't a suicide. And believe it or not, some of the stories that we've gotten and statements that we've gotten have confirmed what we've thought. Everything from just these kids stating to other friends that they went to jump Mikayla and an accident happened and she died. Just all kind of narratives, trying to decipher what's real, what's not, what's the truth and what's not is the challenge in all of this, which is why I was so happy about her getting black legal representation in this case. And so That's what I got, guys. If you guys have any questions, if there's anything you want to know, now is the time. I'll be on for the next couple of minutes, just responding to you guys and trying to answer questions as best as I know how. But this is where we are. I've been in constant phone calls and constant Zooms and Skype calls and everything you could possibly imagine. I will say that the amount of people that reached out to offer legal representation, which I can't discuss now, but I will be able to discuss after some announcements happen, why it's so amazing the amount of support that this family is going to get. Hey Tanya, so what we need right now, I'll call you and I'll describe for you what the need is, but I think the biggest need is support for this mom. So I know that me and you were supposed to connect in regards to DJ's mom. It would definitely help for her to be able to get support from moms who have actually experienced this. And me and you can connect on that offline and make that connection, because it's tough. Every day is tough, and I can only imagine. We want to know, how are you doing? You take on so much, and it's important. We care about you, your well-being. I'm doing good. I'm a little over 5 months pregnant. Actually at Violence in Boston, because food pantry is happening today. Everybody else is up front working the food pantry. I'm sitting in the back, just finished eating chicken and hot sauce. I'm trying to do what I can. I secured a amazing contract today with a major hotel chain. So now when emergencies happen, Violence in Boston has contracted with the hotel to be able to place families who get into situations that involve shootings or stabbings and they can't go back home. I've already called the office and donated. What other help do you need? Continue to call, continue to apply pressure. I know it seems superficial, but in all actually, it's making traction. All I can say is there'll be some announcements made, and then you guys will understand why I had to remain silent for a little bit, and then I'm gonna explode and hit the ground running. But yeah, I'm doing okay. Like in between all of this, I think people fail to realize I still got to be a parent. So I had to go pick one kid up from college and load up all her stuff and bring her home. And, you know, semesters are ending. And then I have one kid who's wrapping up high school and finals are happening. So it's a lot happening in the household. And CJ is 2, but he runs everybody, and that's real. So I'm so proud of you. Thank you. Much love to you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. It's been tough. I get attacked. I'm still getting attacked. I read some messages that I'll probably post after this live just to show y'all. The attacks haven't stopped. They're very nasty and derogatory. And some of these things that these white people say to you, you'd be like, really? Like you had that amount of time? But it comes with the process. I've kind of been being attacked since 2017. So at this point, it's not nothing they can say that I haven't heard. But it's definitely a heavy load to bear. And just, you know, you get accused of political motivations and all kind of stuff. Again, no funds exchanged, no funds being raised. I don't need it. I'm not running for office for anything. I ran in 2016 and that was enough for me, so I'm all set. Right now, my main focus is helping this family get accountability. And I use that in exchange for justice, only because justice would mean that Mikayla would still be here. So there's that. We are fortunate to have you fight every day for us. I appreciate that, Cynthia, because leave it to everybody else. Monica's fighting globally and ignoring her own community, which is wild. But also, I'm never going to be the one to out everything that I do, because it's nobody's business but those families. So if I waited for this community to ordain me, I would have been in trouble a long time ago. So there's that. But yeah, guys. It's ongoing. As soon as the autopsy report comes back, that will be a full press conference. And we're patiently waiting just because they wanted to make sure they did everything to the T. The autopsy itself has wrapped up, but we're just waiting for the report to come. I have to actually check in after this live video to check in on it. But just want to make sure that everything is done efficiently and adequately. and that this family gets the necessary answers that they need. And even though we have the independent autopsy, we still need an independent investigation. And even with the independent autopsy, having DA Marian Ryan in charge of this case is still deadly and problematic for this family for multiple reasons and extremely harmful. I received a message today that stated that the police in Hopkinton had actually directed Caitlin's family to go on Turtle Boys instead of going to NBC or ABC. And a lot of that is white supremacy and just pure hatred. But it also goes to show the relationship between the two and how intertwined they are. And for all those reasons is why this case needs to be removed out of that police department and from Middlesex District Attorney's Office. The other thing that we're dealing with behind the scenes, and I be trying to be diplomatic, and I'm going to try to be diplomatic in the way that I say this, but I really have no game face, is that all skin folk ain't kinfolk. And some of the black educated leaders of some of these organizations play for the opposite team and are just as problematic as this district attorney. In fact, spend their days caping for her and making excuses and acting as if they don't understand things in order to infiltrate and play both sides. And it's very disgusting. The issue I have is I'm really comfortable dragging clear folks. It's a little bit more difficult when they're the same color as you. I try not to, just because we face enough from outsiders, even though they don't hesitate to do it to me. My values won't let me do sucker shit. But what I will say is that it's been an uphill battle on both sides, from those that look like us that want to kumbaya to those that don't look like us that want to cover everything up that's happening. But when you have white neighbors, white leaders, white media, and everybody saying none of this makes sense, and you're on the right track. And I think it's the collective of people realizing, who have went into those woods, who have looked at those trees and those branches and realized that there's no way in hell at 5'5" and 180 pounds that this young lady hung herself. No way in hell. So that's what I have for you guys today. Stay tuned. I promise you. Just stay tuned, stay focused, keep sharing her flyer, keep sharing our Facebook event, keep pushing justice for Mikayla, encouraging people to not stop the conversation, because I think that's the other thing that this DA is counting on, is that we're going to die out and it's going to go away so that she can get ready, attempt to run for Attorney General. And hold on, I've been up on this from day one and nothing adds up. People have gotten arrested for spitting on someone. She got beat up and reported it. Not only did she get beat up and reported it, but if you watch the Jim Browdy interview and me and Jim press her, she says it was a crime committed. There was blood on Mikayla's lip. She had a black eye, and if a criminal act happened, then why wasn't their arrest made? The reason why an arrest wasn't made is because these individuals are white and connected. Because if this was 5 black kids, they would have been arrested the night of. Their faces would have been plastered everywhere, and they would have been held until the investigation was done to see had they actually committed a homicide. Everything in this case has been done strictly against what normally happens. And for those reasons, I think it's important to have fresh eyes. And when we say independent investigation, I want to be clear. Massachusetts is like 6 degrees of separation. So no, we don't want your homegirl from another county doing the case, because we know that all of y'all talk and all of y'all go and have tea and crimpets and drink wine and put your feet up. We want the FBI. We want the feds to take over the investigation, because the political relationships are strong in Massachusetts, and we just want to be clear that someone who's not in relationships with these politicians can take a fresh look at this case and give this family answers, and that's the number one goal. I know some people had questions around the fundraiser from day one, mom has not wanted to raise money, but realizing that jumping into a legal case and a legal pursuit in this process may ensue cost, along with the fact of being able to take care of her other child and just survive. None of those things I think need to be explained to anybody. The same way white folks throw up fundraisers when little Becky wants to make aprons, or they throw up fundraisers because somebody wants to make sweaters and donate them to Children's Hospital, is how I believe that this family is going to need all the support that they're going to, all the support in the world, which they're going to need in order to navigate through this process. So, what is that, Paula? Sadly, if the police had arrested her attackers right away, Mikayla most likely would still be alive. Absolutely. We even have testimony from residents who are like, the cameras are always working, but the woman in the office is not fond of people of color and can be easily bought to act like the camera footage does not exist. And so it'll be interesting to see how this company responds to requests in regards to how does the whole month of April disappear and not be on. And so, yeah, there are multi-layered of discrepancies, the connectivity to this Hopkinton Police Department, the connectivity to relationships, knowing that a lot of the small businesses in Hopkinton donate to the police organization, so everybody is in bed with each other. I honestly quite feel like this is like CSI or Law and Order SVU. I feel like I stepped into a case that happened in Mayberry and no one is talking, and you have to really dig and kick over things. And the amount of conversations that have taken place with residents, meet me in a dark alley and let's have this conversation, is wild. But that's literally what's happening on the ground right now, just trying to get information. And it's sad that this mom has had to play their own investigator in her daughter's case due to the negligence and incompetence of this office. But again, I went hard and I made some calls, and so she won't have to do that anymore. But it's been a lot, and every day I get information. People leave messages on my website. I had somebody leave a message on my website saying that they had some recordings that we needed to listen to. How do you get an independent investigation? Why is it so hard to do? So, because the district attorney handles, first off, Middlesex is one of the larger counties. Middlesex District Attorney's Office used to be one of the most powerful in the state. Not so much anymore, but used to be. It's extremely difficult because there's an assumption that a district attorney should be able to take a case and actually do it. The applying pressure, and hopefully, fingers crossed, with a petition coming, is to state that she has proved time and time again that she is incompetent and covers up information. In one case, which y'all seen from my first live, she hid 19 documents out of a case. To the average eye, you wouldn't know what's missing, but from a legal standpoint, you can recognize that so much had been redacted. And so it's tough. Also, it's Boston. For as much as we want to talk about, Massachusetts, for as much as we want to talk about that Massachusetts is not racist, if you ever want to identify the racism in this state, go under a Boston 25 news article about a black person and read the comments. Go under Channel 7 news comment about any black person and read the comments. They are atrocious and disgusting, and these are the same individuals that follow Turtle Boy. You also got to pay attention to the black people who share those articles and believe them, and who regurgitate that information with no basis, haven't talked to the family, haven't discussed anything, and don't realize that, and I say this unequivocally, today it's her family being dragged, tomorrow it's you. There's no respect of person. It's the same thing I said to the police, the black police officers. It's they'll kill you last. It's not that you're not going to die because you're part of the Blue Club. It's just that they'll kill you last. And the quicker that we as black folks realize that, the better that it'll be. The reason why pressure is important is because pressure got got us results in the George Floyd case. It was protesting. It was marching that got that done. If you remember, at the very beginning of that case, they had no intentions on filing charges and actually lied and said that it was a medical situation as to how George Floyd died, when in all actuality he had been murdered. And it wasn't until we took to the streets and was like, hell to the nah, that change began to happen. And so we have to realize that protesting has to be a part of politics, and it's an essential part in getting things happening. And if more elected officials realize that there's an inside and an outside game to getting what we deserve and what is needed in regards to accountability, we will be better off. Instead of thinking that they can just file 50 million pieces of legislation. Legislation has a trickle-down effect, and that's the part I don't think people realize. You can file a piece of legislation, but by the time it gets implemented and it's actually in use and it begins to change something that has been in the works for years and years and years, so many people have been affected and looked over in that process that it's impossible to not cause harm, wherein as pressure bust pipes. So we continue to apply pressure. We're going to continue to apply pressure. I don't want no one to think that because it was in Hopkinton that it doesn't happen here, or that we're just going to let it ride, or we're going to forget and we're not going to continuously seek justice, or we don't care. And I think that is what this DA is counting on, and just we're not letting up. And so there's that. So any other questions? So yeah, guys, that's where we've been thus far. That's what's been happening. Again, send all your love and all your prayers towards this mom and her family. It is a heavy weight to bear when dealing and engaging in a public space and being thrust into the public against your will. And then have to encounter people try to define who you are, what you are, and slander you, and not be able to defend yourself, because there's nothing that she's going to be able to say to change the mind of racism. But also she shouldn't have to respond, right? Because they're going to believe what they want to believe regardless. And so make sure you guys send all the love and prayers this family's way. Continue to share. I'm going to continue blasting it on all my social media platforms and tagging people and letting them know that we're not letting up. The bus boycott lasted for a whole year, for a whole 365 days. We can do this. This family deserves justice, and we need to let these people know in the state of Massachusetts, but more specifically, District Attorney Marian, that what you won't do is allow one of our children to be killed by 5 white kids and you give them a pass. And yeah, that's just where we are. Like, you're not getting a pass. There's no way in hell we're letting this go. We're going to continue this fight. So thank you guys for your support this far. Thank you for checking in on me. I try to respond to every message. Again, I'm not ignoring people who send me friend requests. I have 5,000 people on my page, and that's all that Facebook allows. It's so funny, they restricted my Violence in Boston page where they don't suggest it to anybody, but I can still post. So please go to the Violence in Boston page for information. If you can't find it, go to my page. I'm always tagging it in a post because Facebook has put it under restriction. It's actually in review because I've been emailing back and forth with Facebook, but keep checking in so that you guys are getting real-time updates. Also, on a local level, 23rd of May, there is a rock event, Reunite, our community, led by Tamara Peoples of the Boston Lions Track Club. Please show her support. Please come out and support. It'll be a slew of resources. Violence in Boston is a part of this day of just supplying our community with resources, and trying to come together, even in the mindset that some of us might not like each other, but we still love each other, or maybe we don't even love each other, but realize that we're all advocating for the same thing. And so please show support for that. Food Pantry at Violence in Boston, Wednesdays and Fridays, every Wednesday and Friday, 12 to 4 p.m. Walk in, wear a mask, we take your temperature, we give you groceries, we take basic demographic information, no ID required. The work continues. Also super grateful for the contract that Violence in Boston landed today with a major hotel chain, so that in emergency situations where people are victims of violence and we have to displace them, they will go into a location that is safe, where they can cook and prepare their meals and attempt to deal with the trauma that their family have been affected by. I don't know what it's like to not do this work. Believe half of what you see about me and none of what you hear. At the end of the day, know that I do this work from an authentic place. I'm going to keep checking in with you guys and sharing information as I get it. And I'll tell you the things I can tell you, and if I can't tell you, I'll tell you I can't tell you, but you will find out. And I think it's important that we talk to our community members about the things that are happening in real time, because the news is only going to tell you but so much. So yes, always looking for volunteers. Visit violenceinboston.com, and you can fill out the form at the end, or you can email us at violenceinboston@gmail.com. And yeah, thank you guys for everything. Continue to support Mikayla Miller's family. Continue to uplift them. Her brother, her cousins, her uncles, her aunties, all of them are being affected simultaneously. This was a beautiful young lady who didn't deserve this. So I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
So I just wanted to share with you guys the update that she put out yesterday across all of her platforms. I have a lot of respect for Monica Cannon Grant. I've never met her personally, but you can tell when someone has an authentic spirit, and you can tell that she does all of this out of the kindness of her heart. She's very active. She is a real activist. She's not an actorvist. I've learned quite a bit from her just by watching her lives and by reading her posts, and it's really been really enlightening to me, actually. So she does get a lot of hate, and of all the cases that I've covered, this is the only case that I have received so much hate. So there is a lot of racism coming out of Massachusetts, and it is blatantly obvious. It's if I posted some of the things that I've received so far, you would be floored. But I'm not going to stop. So please, if you do know Calvina Strothers, or you contacted her via Facebook, what have you, please send her love, even if it's just in the form of a prayer. Just please reach out and let her know that there are people that are on her side. Because not only is she having to deal with the death of her daughter, regardless, her child is gone. Regardless of how you see it. So if you're sending harassing emails and harassing Facebook messages and harassing telephone calls her way, shame on you. God sits high and he looks low. This mother is grieving. Not only that, but now she's having to deal with all of this foolery of trying to smear her name. And it's just shameful. It's embarrassing to me. But I'm going to end this video on that note, and I'm going to cover the live that she did today. So thanks for watching, guys.